everybody, Lynn Burkhead, Outdoor Sportsman Group. You need me to introduce myself, but you do not need this fella to introduce himself. The Hack Attack, Greg Hackney of Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour, Angler of the Year FLW, Angler of the Year Bassmaster Series, very successful Major League Fishing. You've done it all in the fishing world. Greg, how in the world are you, sir?
I'm great. Good to see you, Lynn.
Good to see you. Now, I know you are a big fan and have been for a long time of MotorGuide products. They've been on your boat.
You know, I've pretty much run a MotorGuide my entire fishing career as a professional angler.
Right.
There's one been on my boat every year.
Well, there's a new one, and
Yes,
I imagine you've already had a prototype on your boat, but this is the MotorGuide Tour Pro. Right next to us is one just called the Tour, but tell us about the Tour Pro.
Well, you know, basically, the MotorGuide Tour trolling motor has always been kind of industry standards. Mm-hmm. It is the best trolling motor, the most durable, toughest trolling motor that's ever been made.
And you're rough on your motor.
Yeah, and I'm rough on my motor. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I test my equipment. I don't abuse it, but I use it. And whatever it needs to do, that's what it's going to do.
Right.
I've always looked at my boat, you know, and motor like a tractor. You know, a tractor, they get dirty because they work. So mine has to work for me.
I remember my days of covering you, Major League Fishing, the Cup events. Somebody would say, "Where's Hackney?" I'd go, "He's over there." Because you always were over there where other guys weren't. You do really get into places with your motors that other guys might not even try.
You know, and I always say that if I put 150 hours on my outboard, I've put 1,150 hours on my trolling motor. Because I'm one of those guys that spends more time fishing than I do on the big motor. So this is, to me, this is the most important part of any bass boat. This is the most used piece of equipment on any bass boat. Right. I mean, when you think about it, for hours we stand on this thing. And like I said, the Tour has always been known as industry standard, the best trolling motor out there, and now they've got just a beefier version of that.
Speaking of beefy, this head looks like something out of a Star Wars movie or something.
It does. One of the reasons that this particular model, the Pro, has the larger head, it has a transmission in the top of it. Okay. It's still a cable-driven trolling motor, which gives you instant response. When you need to turn on a dime, that cable is what allows you to do that. But the cool thing about this trolling motor is it also has a GPS in the head of it. And basically what that allows me to do, I'm fishing, I catch one, I'm offshore on a spot, it's rough, I can hit the GPS lock on it and sit right there, and the trolling motor will hold itself on that exact spot. The other cool thing about this trolling motor is it can be paired with any electronic out there. Garmin, Ray Marine, Lowrance, anybody's electronics, this trolling motor will pair with it. It comes with a feature, you can get it with the transducer, has down and 2D for everyone's electronics out there. So that makes it cool, so it doesn't matter what electronics you're using, this trolling motor will pair up. Another big key to putting that transmission in the head, rather than mounting it down on the shaft, we have the breakaway, the 360 breakaway. Right. Now, there are some other brands of trolling motor out there with the GPS on it, but one of the problems with them, they do not have a breakaway. It's hard not to have a breakaway on a bass boat, because in my business, I'll spend 50% of the time where the trolling motor won't hit the bottom, and the other 50% of the time where it will, or running around logs and stumps. So it's a huge key to have that breakaway to keep from, because you don't want to be down. I have to have a piece of equipment on the front that is strong and won't let me down. And so now I just feel like we have the best of all worlds. It won't matter if I'm 5 miles offshore or 500 yards back in the bushes, I have a piece of equipment that will work for me. And I think that's the big key. The other thing is they've just, you know, there's now to pick this trolling motor up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You hardly did
nothing
anything
to it. There's, you know, I mean, you can literally do it with one pinky and pick it up. And that's just by the way they designed the bracket. It's got a gas piston in there that helps, you know, so basically now when you pick that trolling motor up, how you maybe, I think they said maybe you pick up 25%, maybe at the most 25% of the weight of the motor. Another cool thing about this trolling motor is 9 pounds lighter than the next lightest trolling motor on the market of the same specs. You know, this is a 36 volt big trolling motor. But the main thing about it is I'm just glad that it's simple. You know, that's another big key. The more working parts you have on a piece of equipment, chances are the more stuff there is to break down.
The more bells and whistles you try to put on them.
So the more simpler you can keep a piece of equipment. I know this from the logging industry, even before I became a tournament bass fisherman, that the more working parts you have on something, the more stuff there is to tear down. Simple is better. Simple and rigid, and that's what this trolling motor is.
So this is going to give you the speed you want. It's going to give you the power you want. It's going to be rugged, reliable, and simple. And as you said, there may, other than your rod and reel and what's on the end of that, this may be the most important piece of equipment on your boat.
It is, because this is what gets us around and keeps us on those fishing spots. You know, another thing I haven't talked about is the new prop. Now, this prop won't only fit on this. I currently have one on my X5 also. This is the Katana prop, and basically this trolling motor is still a 109. This is the same Tour Edition 109 power-wise that it has been forever, but by adding the Katana prop to it, I'm helping the trolling motor 10 to 15% more power and responsiveness with this trolling motor, with this trolling motor prop, the Katana. But like I said, even if you don't purchase one of these, you can purchase one of these, which will help your current model trolling motor without a doubt.
And then we can't show it in this camera shot, but next door we've got, this is the Tour Pro. Next door we just got the Tour version.
You know, basically the Tour version of this is the meat and potato trolling motor out there. You know, for a guy that's maybe on a budget, you know, retail, this is considerably cheaper than the GPS model. It has all of the same strong features, the power. You know, a guy that's going to fish 10 foot or less, I recommend the Tour. Two 10-foot power poles, the Tour trolling motor, and a guy that's going to spend, like here we are in Florida, where, you know, most of fishing, it's just hard to beat that, again, because you cut down on working parts. Before a guy's going to spend some time offshore in rough conditions, have to set on a spot. You know, the cool thing about this is when you hit that GPS lock on it, I can go back and tie tackle, you weigh fish, put fish in the live well,
and be in the same spot.
And when you step back up, you're in exactly the same spot you were in when you sat down. So, you know, for me personally, I'm going to have the GPS model, because there are going to be times that I'm going to be deeper than 10 foot, or when conditions are going to be a situation where I'm going to want to, you know, to set in one spot and do that with my trolling motor. So for me, the Tour Pro is going to be the one, but for that meat and potatoes guys, that Tour Edition is hard to beat, and I've made a living for 25 years with that Tour Edition, so I know it's good.
Yeah, and that guy with two sons in college right now, yeah, the meat and potato budget guy that you were talking about, that's me. So you put your 8 BPT events, there's up to 4 cup events, plus you're doing all kinds of sponsor stuff and media shoots and all that kind of stuff. You're on the water a couple of 100 days a year, right?
I'll be honest with you, I've always thought I've been a busy guy, but this year has been the busiest year I can remember in recent times, I promise you. Yeah, we stay out there a lot.
So you're out there all the time and you trust everything to your MotorGuide.
Yeah, and I have for a long time. I mean, this is the way I pay my light bill. I mean, you know, it's just that simple. That's right. This is how I do that, and they've just never let me down. And you know, that's the biggest thing. And it's not that I'm scared of new stuff, but when you got something that's working and it's been working day in and day out, why change it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it hadn't been broke for Greg Hackney for a long, long time. He's one of the best in the bass fishing game. Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. He's been Angler of the Year all over the place. He's won tournaments all over the place. He won a tournament in my backyard on Texoma a few years ago. He's one of the best, and if he trusts what he does to the products of MotorGuide, so should you. Where can they find out more? Website address?
Oh, they can go to the MotorGuide.com and find out everything they need to know about this trolling motor. You know, they actually made this big announcement just yesterday. Is the first time that they had leaked a little bit. We all knew it was coming, right? But you know, it was official as of yesterday, and you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to start shipping these trolling motors around November. All right. So about November of this year, get ready. Your new boat next year, your new Phoenix Bass boat needs one of these on it.
And of course, you can follow Greg Hackney on all his social media. You can follow him at MajorLeagueFishing.com. All kinds of ways to follow the Hack Attack, one of the best in the game, and his trust in MotorGuide. For Greg Hackney, I'm Lynn Burkhead of OSG. Good fishing, everybody.